If there's one thing we know for sure, RV park Wi-Fi is terrible. Let me say that again. If there's one thing we know for sure, RV park Wi-Fi is terrible. Yep, I said it, I'll say it again. RV park Wi-Fi is absolutely terrible. If you're new to the channel, Kelly and I have been full-time RVing for over 4 years. We've crisscrossed the country numerous times. In all of our adventures, we have never found an RV park Wi-Fi that's worth using. Let's talk about why that is. RV parks put up Wi-Fi antennas or a Wi-Fi signal so that their customers can have internet. The problem with that is that most RV parks don't invest enough into their infrastructure. They'll put up one antenna, maybe a mesh system, but the problem is they have one internet source that comes in, whether that's cable, DSL, fiber, and the more people that you get using that signal, the smaller the broadband is, and it's basically unusable for most of the customers. In fact, most parks, when you check in their rules and regulations, will tell you no streaming allowed. Well, that's how Kelly and I get our TV when we're on the road. If I can't stream, I'm really not interested in using that Wi-Fi source. So what are our options? Well, as I said, we've been on the road for more than 4 years, and technology has changed tremendously since we first started this journey. Now, we've been documenting our travels. We started documenting a number of years ago when we first started to share our experiences with our grandkids and our relatives and our friends. And that was a lot of fun, and quite honestly, we weren't very good at what we did, but it was a lot of fun. It's like sitting at home watching a home movie. Well, now that we've been on the road for over 4 years, our friends and our family started sharing our adventures with some of their friends, and they started sharing with some of their friends, and here we are with a YouTube channel that we had no intention of building. But we've got such a great community that we just love what we're doing. We've met so many of you while we're on the road, and it's been such a blessing to us, and we really appreciate you guys coming along. Now, we like to say that our videos are going to be informative, educational, and entertaining. Hopefully this is going to be an educational video for some of you. I know some of you know this already, but technology is changing so fast, and we've added a couple of things to our arsenal in the internet spectrum. So we're going to try to share those, and hopefully this won't be too boring, but we want to start with some basics. So I made some real basic graphs, and I'm going to throw them up here on the screen. So number one, you have an internet source and you have your RV. And every RV is going to have some sort of smart device in it. Whether it's, if you're out for a weekend with the kids at the lake, then you've probably got some cell phones or some sort of laptop or something to entertain the kids. That's a smart device. If you're full-timing on the road, you've probably got some laptops, you've got your cell phones, and you've got your TV streaming. If you're going to stream TV, especially YouTube, you're streaming your TV. So you've got smart devices in your RV. We went around and we looked at the smart devices that we had in our RV that we've been in a little over a year now. We have over 18 smart devices in our RV. 18! They range anywhere from laptops to TVs. We have 3 TVs in our rig because we have a toy hauler. We have a TV in our garage, which is where I'm at now. And then each TV we've set up a Roku streaming device. Well, you could say, well, why are you using a Roku streaming device if you have a smart TV? All smart TVs don't have the apps and the streaming channels that we want to watch. So we add Roku to our arsenal. So we've got 3 TVs, 3 streaming devices. We've got a Wi-Fi printer. We've got 2 laptops. We've got 3 Amazon Alexa devices in our rig. My solar system with Victron is set up on the internet so that I can monitor that on the road or away when I'm away to make sure that everything's working properly. In this new DRV that we have an in-command system. The in-command controls our lights, our heating and air conditioning. It lets us monitor our tanks, And so we can get on that when we're away from the rig. As an example, when we're in Texas visiting our daughter and we're staying for dinner and it gets dark out, we can turn on the lights even before we get home. And so consequently, we have 18 plus streaming devices or internet smart devices in our RV. So we definitely need internet. Before we give you too much information, we want to thank the sponsor of this video, rvmattress.com. We've been RVing most of our married life, and we've upgraded a number of items in our RVs, such as TVs, stereo systems, streaming devices, and so on. But we've never changed out the mattress that came with our RVs. We figured it was usable, so we just used the mattress that our RV came with. When we moved into our RV a little over a year ago, this new toy hauler, we decided to keep the 4-year-old mattress that we had in our previous RV. We'd purchased a mattress topper for the old mattress and we thought we were comfortable. Boy, were we wrong. The topper we bought was sized for a regular king mattress, and ours was an RV king, which is a little narrower than a normal king. So the topper didn't fit very well. It hung over the sides, and Kelly was always complaining that when we made the bed, the bedding didn't fit correctly over the topper. It was really a pain. RVmattress.com is a mattress manufacturer located in Phoenix, Arizona. They manufacture a number of mattresses, including special RV sizes. They contacted us and asked if we would be willing to try out one of their mattresses and share our experience on this channel. If you've been following us for very long, you know we won't recommend any product or any service that we don't use ourselves or that we're not happy with. So we did our research and we found that they offer 4 different mattress styles, including RV sizes, in 3 different firmness options. All of their mattresses are manufactured right here in the USA, Phoenix, Arizona. They have a 120-night sleep guarantee, a 10-year warranty, and free shipping. We figured we couldn't go wrong. We chose the Brooklyn Aurora Hybrid since it had advanced cooling technology. We looked at their firmness chart and decided, based on our body weight and sleep patterns according to their chart, to try out the medium firmness. Now, we've been sleeping on basically a firm mattress and we thought that's what we wanted. But we tried out this medium firmness and oh my gosh, what a great mattress. It comes in a box, vacuum wrapped, so we loaded it in the RV and started unwrapping. Once you get the plastic off, it balloons out into shape, and in no time you're sleeping on your new mattress. We had no idea what we've been missing all those years. We are so happy with this new mattress. We've been sleeping on this new mattress for over 4 months, and we absolutely love it. We want to thank Brooklyn Bedding for being a sponsor to this channel, and because they're a new sponsor, they're offering a special discount for our viewers. Visit rvmattress.com/sweettravels to get 20% off your mattress with the code SweetTravels. As I said, we've been on our new mattress for over 4 months and we are just so pleased with it. We really highly recommend you go to rvmattress.com, take a look at what they have to offer. They're an amazing company and we just can't thank them enough for being a sponsor to this channel. All right, so let's talk about some basics, and I've made some real basic diagrams. In our RV, we have a number of smart devices. We also have an internet source. That internet source can be RV park Wi-Fi, it can be a MiFi device, it can be the hotspot on our phone, whatever the case may be. So we have to go through and we have to program each of our smart devices to read or accept they call it an SSID channel from that internet source, whether it be RV park Wi-Fi. It has an SSID. That's the name of the RV park Wi-Fi system. Our MiFi device that we used has an SSID. That's the name of our internet source. Our phone hotspots have a name for that internet source. So each time we change our internet source or we connect a smart device to the internet, we have to enter the name and the password. When we've got 18 devices, that can get a little bit time consuming. Here's what happens if we have to change that internet source. If our RV park Wi-Fi is not up to snuff, which it normally isn't, then we have to go to our cellular system. Okay, our cellular system, when we first started back 4 years ago, more than 4 years ago, we had a MiFi device. And the MiFi device is a little device that has a SIM card in it that we purchased from Verizon. It was one of the grandfathered plans. We got in under the grandfathered contract, and we place our MiFi device next to a window, and it broadcasts the SSID, or the name of the MiFi device, throughout our rig. And then there's a password to it so that our neighbors can't use our Wi-Fi, or they can't get in and take a look at our Wi-Fi. Well, that seemed to work pretty well, we thought, but then we were getting into some situations where the Verizon signal wasn't very good. So then what do? Well, then we had to change over to our phone's hotspots, which was T-Mobile. And when we changed over to our hotspots, we had to go to every single one of our smart devices and change the internet source name and the password to go along with that. Now you can imagine, if think about it, when you get to a park or you have to change your source, that can be rather time consuming, and it's kind of a pain. So then our next solution was to purchase a mobile router. Now a mobile router is not like your home Wi-Fi router that you have at your house. Your Wi-Fi router at your house, you plug into the wall, you connect, you hardwire your internet source, whether it be fiber, DSL, or whatever the case, whatever your internet source is, you hardwire it into your Wi-Fi router, and then it broadcasts that signal throughout your home to all your devices. A mobile router is very similar, but usually they're 12 volt capable, so we don't have to have 110 to make it work, and they have SIM card slots in them. So a lot of times you can go to Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile and purchase a data-only SIM card, install it in your mobile router, and that becomes your internet source. And so what that does for you is it gives you one source of internet with the same SSID, or the same name of your internet source, and the same password. So if you change internet sources, then your mobile router is still broadcasting the original SSID or name. Now, that was great, because what we did is we ended up purchasing an AT&T grandfathered plan. So we had both a Verizon SIM card in there and an AT&T SIM card in there. That gave us two internet sources, and that seemed to work pretty well. But there were times when both Verizon and AT&T weren't very good, and so we had to go back to our mobile hotspot. Well, if you have the knowledge, you can get into your mobile router settings, and you can tell your mobile router to receive your Wi-Fi hotspot data or an RV park Wi-Fi data. So problem solved, right? You have one mobile router, you have a number of items, and your mobile router sends out one signal to all of your items, but its source could be AT&T, it could be Verizon, it could be RV park Wi-Fi, or it could be your hotspot. Now, a lot of people don't want to get into the settings of the mobile router, and it can be a little overwhelming. I'm kind of a techno geek, and so for me it wasn't that big of a deal. But a lot of you say, well, I don't want to do that. Okay, that's great. So what we suggest is that you take a look at mobile routers, and there's two mobile router companies that come to mind. One is Cradlepoint, that's the mobile router that we have, and we're very happy with it. It will accept two SIM cards, and we can go back and forth between Verizon or AT&T, and it can be programmed to take the best signal, and Cradlepoint can do that for you. The other brand is a Peplink or Pepwave, and we have a Peplink Pepwave router that we use in our truck, and that's for another story down the road. So the mobile router is the best way to go. You have one internet source, and all of your smart devices are connected to it, and where it receives its internet from, then everything's taken care of. Well, again, what we discovered is, even though we had a Verizon Unlimited plan and we had an AT&T Unlimited plan, we found, and we've since done a little research, and we can confirm The cellular companies that are giving you data SIM cards that say this is an unlimited or a 300 gigabyte or a 100 gigabyte or whatever the plan you choose, they have a tendency to throttle your signal. How do we know they're throttling? We use our TVs to stream all of our entertainment, whether it be Netflix, YouTube, Pluto TV, whatever. Everything we do is streamed. And so as it's being streamed, everything seems to be fine, but if you watch your streaming and the picture degrades into a fuzzy picture, so you went from 1080p, let's say, down to 720, and then all of a sudden it drops down to 480, that's because your service provider is throttling your signal. Even though you have unlimited, they can still throttle according to the fine print. And go take a look, and these are some terms that you're going to want to research if you're interested in this, but almost all SIM cards through the cellular companies will throttle your signal. That just wasn't acceptable to us. I was very, very frustrated. So what we've done now is we have added to our arsenal, we have added Starlink. Starlink, if you're not familiar with it, and if you're not, I'm really surprised, but Starlink is a company run by Elon Musk, and he's sending a whole bunch of satellites up into a low Earth orbit. His plan is to put satellites in a low Earth orbit across the world, and that, according to the information that they have, that will allow you to get internet anywhere. Let me say that again. That will allow you to get internet anywhere. Think about it. If you're sitting in Yellowstone National Park, there isn't a cellular carrier in the whole park of Yellowstone National Park, so you can't get internet while you're there at the park. But if you've got Starlink, you have internet. It's awesome. Now, we have come up with some problems with Starlink. The problem is that you need a clear view of the sky. And how many parks or campgrounds do you go where there's no trees and you don't have a clear view of the northern sky? So that can be a pain. So what happens is that the satellite will cross over, and the Starlink antenna will be following that satellite, and then as the satellite goes behind a tree, the antenna loses signal, and you get what they call a drop-off. That drop-off, what we're discovering, can last anywhere from 16 seconds to over 2 minutes. While since that satellite goes behind the tree, now it's got to find another satellite somewhere above the Earth, and it's got to lock onto that satellite and continue its signal. Not a big deal usually, but if you're using your internet for business and you have Zoom calls, if you lose a signal for more than, I'm going to say 20 seconds, I don't know what the actual amount is, but a Zoom call doesn't buffer. And so because the signal drops off, that Zoom call will terminate, and you're going to have to log back on after it reacquires on another satellite. If you're gaming, if your kids are gaming while you're out camping, that's going to be an issue for them if they're gaming online, because same thing, the satellite's going to go behind a tree, it's going to lose its signal, and now game over. It's just going to shut down, and you're going to have to restart the whole thing again. We've been streaming with Starlink, and it's been extremely good on streaming. We have streamed for over 4 hours straight. The signal doesn't degrade like it would if your cellular company was throttling you. It's a solid 1080p high definition signal, and it seems to be working great. The drop-offs, there's enough buffering in the stream we're finding that we don't see the drop-offs from Starlink, unless it's a long time where it goes behind a tree and it really has to search for another satellite. But for the most part, that's only happened to us a couple of times where it's frozen up, and it has to and once it reacquires, the streaming will continue. But for the most part, we've seen seamless video on our streaming through Starlink. Now, Starlink has got an antenna, It's got a cable, it's got a stand, and it has its own modem. The modem has its own Wi-Fi built in, but again, that gives you another internet source that you've got to come up with. So if you change over from your cellular plan or your hotspot plan to Starlink, you've got to go through all those 18 devices and reacquire the SSID. You've got to enter the password again for all of it, and it's just a pain. You can buy an accessory from Starlink. So you take the cable that comes in from the antenna, you plug it into this accessory, and then that accessory goes into the modem. Now, on this accessory, it has a Cat5 cable connection. Well, Cat5 is just a standard internet cable that you would hardwire your computer with. What I've done is I've taken that Cat5 cable and I've plugged it into the WAN port on the back side of our router. That overrides any cellular data. So I've set up my router so that WAN takes priority. So if I have a hard wire into my router, that takes priority and it shuts down all the cellular data and it goes straight to the wired source, which in this case would be Starlink. And Starlink has been working pretty well for us. Now, it is kind of expensive. The basic Starlink for residential is $110 a month. You can pick up an RV Starlink package, and it's the same hardware as the residential. The difference is that you can go mobile with your RV. Now, there is a downside to going mobile with or RV with your Starlink. If you're in a high metropolitan area, as an example, if you're in the area of Seattle or Portland or a metropolitan area where there's a lot of Starlink use, the residential packages in that metropolitan area are going to get priority over you, and so your signal is going to be lowered on the tier, and you're going to kind of be a second-rate citizen. But if you're in a metro area, you're probably going to have pretty good cellular signal, and so you can go with your cellular plan. We've been back and forth. We've tried it between Montana and Spokane now for a couple of months, and it's worked very, very well. Even in the Spokane metro area, we have not seen any problem with the signal. So that mobility on your RV package with Starlink is an additional $25 a month. So it's $135 a month. But if internet is a priority for you, that's really not all that bad. If you pick up you're going to spend more than $100 a month for a cellular plan that's got a cap on it of, say, 300 gigabyte or 100 gigabyte or whatever the case may be. So the $135 for the portable RV Starlink is not that much different than the cellular plans. Now, we've kept our cellular plan. Actually, we got rid of Verizon because with Verizon we couldn't find an area that was decent enough signal to warrant us paying $65 a month for the Verizon package. And that was a grandfather plan. You can't find that anymore. It's gone away. Everything Verizon has now is going to be more than $100. AT&T is the same way. In fact, I just had a conversation last night with one of our friends in the internet industry, and he told me that AT&T just had a new CEO come in and basically told the company, raise the rates on all the portable cellular plans, all the data plans. We don't need them anymore. We don't want them. Get rid of them. We want to go back to the basic phone packages. So take that for what it's worth, but that's what we heard from him. And if that's the case, then AT&T is going to be kind of hard to come up with. So you can go get a cellular plan from Verizon, a cellular plan, data plan from AT&T, and a cellular data plan from T-Mobile. And you can make any of those work in your mobile router. Now, going out and finding a cellular plan, cellular data plan for your RV is kind of overwhelming. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of carriers. There's a lot of pricing. There's a lot of data. We suggest you go take a look at the Mobile Internet Resource Center. Chris and Cherie run that web page, and they eat, sleep, and drink mobile internet. Now, you can go on their website and take a look at all of their reviews that they've done. Most of it is public. They also have a membership that they offer to their patrons. It's called the Mobile Internet Aficionados, and it's $97 a year. And for Kelly and I, it's been money well spent. We've looked at different companies that offer data plans. So to give you an example, we were looking at an AT&T plan with a company back east, and the price looked right. So we got on the Mobile Internet Aficionados website and we took a look, and they did have them listed and they did rate them. There was some bad information given out on this company, and Chris and Cherie were right on the ball, and they gave their review on it and said, we've had customers call us and say that service has been terminated, you know, blah, 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 blah. So it's money well spent in our opinion. If you're full-time RVing and you're looking for a cellular data plan, we highly recommend you take a look at Chris and Cherie's website. It's full of great information. We don't have an affiliation with them, but we believe in what they say, and we take a look at their reviews, and it's awesome. Okay, so let's sum up what we've talked about. We've talked about smart devices in your RV. We've talked about how do you power up those smart devices with internet source, whether it be RV park Wi-Fi, whether it be a hotspot or a MiFi device or Starlink. We talked about the mobile routers. In our opinion, you can't go wrong with either a cradle point or a PepLink. Both of those are top notch. Now, an add-on to this wrap-up, we had a long conversation with one of our friends last night. Unfortunately, we didn't have this conversation a couple of weeks ago when we were putting this video together, so we can't confirm his information, but he's got some information on the PepLink 5G Cat 20 modem that I just almost fell over backwards when he was telling me what was going on. So that, in conjunction with a Verizon data plan that they're coming up with, it sounds almost too good to be true. He's actually sending us a router and a Verizon data SIM. We're going to put it to the test. We're going to run it through the ringer. We're going to run our streaming through it. We're going to do everything we can and put it to the test and see if what he's telling us is true or not. And if it is, it's going to be a game changer for the RV industry, because between that 5G modem and that Verizon SIM card, if it's true, it's going to be on the top of our list, and we will certainly let you guys know on that. As I said, unfortunately, we haven't had an opportunity to test it, and we don't recommend anything unless we have an opportunity to test it, try it out before we give the information to you guys, because you guys give us your time each and every week. You give us your trust, and we're not going to recommend anything that we haven't tried out ourselves or use ourselves. So, but we will definitely give you more information on that if it indeed comes out to be true. All right, this has been a lot of information. I hope you've garnered something out of it. It's very, very technical, and we don't normally do technical videos, but hopefully this has been educational for you. And if it is, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. We'll notify you of any new changes to our channel. We really appreciate you guys coming along, and if you've got any questions, put them in the description below. Shoot us an email. We'll be happy to answer them the best we can. As I say, we've been on this journey for over 4 years. We've hit the traps, we've stumbled, we've gotten back up, we've dusted ourselves off. I'll give you a real good example. We ordered and purchased, when we first started this journey, well, just before we started this journey, we purchased a Wi-Fi booster. I'm here to tell you, I am not a fan of Wi-Fi boosters. We paid $1,000 for that Wi-Fi booster. It did nothing. If anything, it made our signal worse. We wouldn't recommend a Wi-Fi booster at all. So that was $1,000 out the door, into the garbage can, and hopefully we can save you some money with that. Okay guys, we're going to wrap this one up. It's been a long video, lots of information, and we so appreciate you following along. This community, as we've said before, is awesome. We're so blessed to have you guys follow our journey, and we really appreciate each and every one of you. So remember, it all starts with an idea. You turn those ideas into reality, and then they become memories, lifelong memories. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.